Hello everyone, my name is Eleonora Mencarini and today I'm very excited to present to you the paper that Tommaso, Zambon and I have written on becoming a speleologist, design implications for coordination in wild outdoor environments. Learning outdoor sports is difficult because it entails distance between trainer and trainee, which hampers the exchange of feedback, environmental disturbance such as wind, noise, beam, or darkness, acquiring new motor schemes while managing specific gear, and coordinating with others and controlling fears. We investigated how speleologists are trained and found that stressful situations for beginners are linked to applying new gestures and procedures on which their progression and safety depend, and coordinating with others when they are out of sight. Group awareness and communication are pivotal for beginners' tranquility, yet the underground environment makes communicating very hard. Therefore, we elaborated 4 design implications for technology supporting awareness, communication, and coordination in speleology training, thus contributing to the broader field of group coordination in the wild. Let's give a bit of background to our case study. Speleology, also called caving, spelunking, or potholing, is an exploratory activity based on the discovery and study of underground cavities for scientific purposes. In fact, by exploring caves and investigating their formation, it's possible to understand the hydrology, geology, and geography of a certain area. Caves are hostile environments. They are narrow, dark, humid, isolated, and almost devoid of vegetation or animals. We wanted to explore how people learn to be speleologists and what difficulties they encounter in entering caves for the first time. To this end, we contacted 2 caving groups operating in the province of Trento in the Italian Alps that were organizing courses, and we, attending their theoretical lessons, conducted semi-structured interviews with 10 trainees and 15 instructors, and asked participants to share their photos and videos taken during cave trips. Through the thematic analysis of the interviews, we found 4 main themes and aspects that characterize the learning experience of new speleologists. The first one is venturing into a parallel world. Isolation is at the core of the fascination for the environment and its dangerousness. Both experts and beginner cavers enjoy visiting these remote places and feel privileged to be among the few people with the necessary skills to access them. Yet the fact that there is no phone, Wi-Fi, or GPS signal in caves is a source of tension because it can be very hard to intervene in case of accidents. The second one is a sparse group. Cave's shape sets the progression pace and leads the cavers to scatter. Vertical traits are crossed by ascending or descending ropes one by one, and this progression procedure makes the group split into smaller groups and go out of sight. Therefore, a need for awareness and coordination emerges, which is achieved through different levels of communication. In the darkness, hearing noises and indistinct chatting is enough to be aware of the other's activities and closeness, while for coordinating along the ropes, they shout short commands. Theme number 3, emergency and special needs for communication. Detailed communication with specific people is needed in special cases, such as getting hurt, feeling weak or exhausted, or having any problems proceedings. In those cases, specific instructors and the emergency sack carriers are reached and asked to approach the person in difficulty by word of mouth. 4. Teaching styles and learning needs. Trainees have different preferences about teachers' levels of promptness. Depending on their personality, confidence, and stress levels, some want to be guided step by step in the procedures, while others prefer to try firsthand and test themselves from the beginning. However, the common goal for them is to become autonomous in the progression. All these findings have been elaborated and compared with literature on HCI for outdoor sports, with whom speleology shares gear handling and new motor skills acquisition, and HCI for wilderness search and rescue operation. with whom speleology shares the need for coordinating a sparse group in isolated environments. This elaboration resulted in 4 design implications. The first is explore alternative communication means and protocols. Although not fully robust and reliable, mesh networks can be an initial solution for cavers to share messages. The second is ensure the possibility of coordinating with the right person. Although it might sound obvious to be able to reach the intended addressee of a communication, this is sometimes essential to keep in mind when creating new communication protocols. It is important in caving because cavers have different roles and people occupy different positions along the path. There are trainees, instructors, and emergency sack carriers. 3. Consider different levels of communication. Part of the caver's needs relate to the group awareness rather than direct communication, for which subtle and peripheral communication can be appropriate. 4. Design for beginners progressive autonomy. Besides beginner different preferences for teaching styles, all share the goal of being autonomous in the progression. Therefore, a communication tool could leverage different levels of communication explicitness to accompany instructors and trainees in their detachment. Thank you for watching, and if you want to know more about our research, read our paper or find me at the conference. I would be very happy to talk about it.